The first key question we should ask to unlock our understanding of biblical prophecy is, what is prophecy? In this video, we will define it, identify prophetic books, and discuss the genre of prophecy. Biblical prophecy is a message communicated by God through his chosen human representative. It gives us a peek at the divine perspective. Most people assume that prophecy is primarily about predicting future events. That is called foretelling. Prophets in the Bible do this, but they do much more forthtelling. This means that they share a message given by God to instruct or edify people in the present. Prophetic books are written by prophets with a message from God for future trouble or blessing. There are a total of 17 prophetic books in the Bible, 16 in the Old Testament and 1 in the New Testament. However, the books dedicated to prophecy are not the only places where you will find prophecy. It is scattered throughout the Bible. For example, the Psalms contain prophecies about both the first and second comings of Jesus. The first thing most people assume when I mention that this Bible study is about end times events is that it is a study of Revelation. They are surprised when I say we start out in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke with Jesus' own discussion of what the end times will be like. Then we delve into Revelation because it makes more sense once you have a chronological timeline from the Gospels. Prophecy in the Bible is like a jigsaw puzzle. God sees the whole final picture, but he has broken it into thousands of pieces and given some to each of the biblical writers in no particular order. We are assembling it without the box cover as a guide. No biblical writer had a complete, clear picture. Now that we have a complete Bible, we have most of the pieces, but it is still challenging to put together without the box cover. You will see in Revelation that there are places where the text itself points toward missing pieces, and we don't know when we will get them. Prophecy is very complex and confusing. It is daunting to even think about trying to interpret. So we are going to break it down in this study. Before we even tackle how to interpret it, we need to know what this type of literature is like. What are the characteristics of the language in prophetic literature? Most prophecies are written in poetic form. This is usually surrounded by narrative about events in the prophet's life. Books of prophecy are like anthologies. They are a collection of materials. Think of them as a verbal collage. Because of this, they aren't organized in a logical sequence of time. This is why the Gospels should inform the end of the age timeline rather than the book of Revelation. The Gospels describe a sequence of events, but Revelation is a collection of visions driven by theme rather than timing. Prophecy is emotive. It is shared with passion to get an emotional response. Prophets are intentionally dramatic. Like poetry, prophecy is full of figurative and symbolic language. Most know about metaphors and similes, but there are many other types as well. If you are interested in learning more, you will find definitions and biblical examples of their use in prophecy on the website. At times, you will encounter cryptic language in prophecy. This means there is a purposely concealed meaning. Be careful here because this is different than looking for hidden meanings, which can be abused, especially when people try to turn everything into an allegory or spiritualize it. One example of cryptic language is the Antichrist's name. It is revealed as a number rather than stated explicitly as a name in Revelation 13:18. It actually says you need wisdom to calculate it. Another place that you have probably not heard about before is Revelation 10:4. You have probably heard of the seals, trumpets, and bowls, but have you heard of the 7 thunders? The reason you haven't is because God commands any details about the thunders to be hidden. John is not allowed to write about them. Earlier, I mentioned that we are missing some puzzle pieces. This is one of them. God's enemy, Satan, knows Scripture more than we do and has had thousands of years to study it. For this reason, God did not show his hand regarding the specific nature of Jesus' death in the Old Testament, so that Satan would play into his plan for redemption and stir up the people to crucify Jesus. It is possible God is playing it close to the chest regarding some aspects of his second coming to ensure his triumphant return. Events at the end of the age are often described in cosmic terms. This means they involve outer space, such as the sun, moon, and stars. These events are very dramatic. God has given us fair warning thousands of years in advance, so any who are not prepared for the return of Christ on the great and terrible day of the Lord only have themselves to blame. It would be dangerous to minimize the seriousness of his wrath and coming judgment. The universe did not start with the Big Bang, but the end of the age will certainly go out with one.